Hello friends, welcome to Technique. This is Nirmal here, and in this video we're going to talk about the Oppo F7 and the Realme 1. So these two devices are from Oppo and they have a lot of similarities in terms of the hardware being offered. So in this video, let's talk about what are the differences between these two devices in terms of software, the features being offered, the camera, etc. So these two devices are from Oppo. The Realme 1 is obviously under the Realme brand, which is a sub brand of Oppo, while the Oppo F7 is the flagship device from Oppo in India. So let's get started. So looking at the design of these two devices, you can see that both these devices are exactly the same in terms of the design aspect. You can see that in terms of the looks and height and weight, almost similar experience. We have the power and the SIM tray on the left side, while we have the volume locker keys on the right side, and bottom panel houses the 3.5mm audio jack, the micro USB charging slot, and the speaker unit, and top panel does not have any opening slot. So it's exactly the same in terms of the design aspect. The rear camera and the LED flash are quite similar. The only difference being Realme 1 does not have a fingerprint scanner, while the Oppo F7 has a fingerprint scanner which is rear mounted. So that's hardware, or in terms of looks. You can also see that the build quality is exactly the same and on both the phones. So that's the design aspect. Now talking about the display. So we have a 6-inch Full HD Plus resolution display, 2160 by 1080p resolution. That's Full HD Plus resolution with 18:9 aspect ratio. While on the Oppo F7 we have 2280 by 1080p resolution. That's 19:9 aspect ratio. So the difference being the notch and almost bezel-like design on the Oppo F7, while we have slightly smaller bezels at the top and the bottom on the Realme 1. So that's the difference. Other than that, both are Full HD Plus resolution displays and both are protected by Gorilla Glass. So there isn't much difference in terms of the display performance. So there is a notch on the Oppo F7 which includes the front facing camera and also the earpiece and the sensors. Now that's the display aspect. Now talking about the software. So looking at the software, you can see that both these devices run on the ColorOS version 5.0. Android version is Android 8.1 already out of the box, and both these devices are powered by the same octa-core chipset as well. Now the performance aspect, the Helio P60 is the chipset which is available on both these devices. It's one of the really powerful chipsets in this price segment, and for Realme 1 which starts at 9K pricing, that's 899 pricing, the Helio P60 is one of the really good chipsets you can get for that pricing. It's one of the powerful chipset, excellent gaming performance, great performance altogether. And we have three variants for the Realme 1, 3, 4 and 6GB RAM, while the Oppo F7 is coming in two variants, 4GB RAM and 6GB RAM variants. Now performance wise, both are exactly the same. We don't really see any major difference in terms of the performance. The only difference is that there is no fingerprint scanner on the Realme 1, which is kind of a slight downside, especially when we are using the face unlock in extreme low light conditions. So Oppo F7 has face unlock as well as the fingerprint scanner. Now the difference in the face unlock of these two devices is that the face unlock on the Oppo F7 works even in darker conditions by increasing the brightness of the display, while on the other hand the Realme 1 does not have that feature, and you have to depend upon the PIN or password for unlocking the device in extreme low light conditions. So that's definitely a difference. You can see that the face unlock is definitely better on the Oppo F7, and also the addition of fingerprint scanner is an advantage for that. Now next up, talking about the cameras. So this is one area where there is a difference. We have a 13 megapixel rear camera, f-stop 2.2 aperture, while we have a 16 megapixel camera with f-stop 1.8 aperture on the Oppo F7. So both these devices have a single rear camera, but the megapixel and the aperture values are different. Now on the front panel again we have a difference. We have an 8 megapixel shooter on the Oppo Realme 1, while we have a 25 megapixel selfie camera on the Oppo F7. Talking about the camera performance, definitely the Oppo's F7 excels in camera. It's definitely a good camera smartphone in the sub 25K price segment. Now the Realme 1 isn't a disappointing camera. It's definitely a good camera for a 9K smartphone, but when it comes to the sub 15K price segment, we feel the Realme 1 needs to improve a bit, especially with the low light performance, and also the sharpness levels were not that great. Now talking about the battery performance, we have 3410 mAh battery on the Realme 1 while we have 3400 mAh capacity battery on the Oppo F7. So both these devices are quite good performers in the battery department and can give you more than a day on a moderate usage. So these are the differences between these two devices. The Realme 1 is definitely a great deal when you consider the pricing of 9K for the 3GB RAM and 32GB storage. And if you want a premium flagship experience, Oppo F7 definitely gives that because of the better camera, better face unlock, better fingerprint scanner. So overall, the Oppo F7 is a flagship category. But if you want those features on a budget, the Realme 1 definitely is a great deal. So that's the comparison of the Oppo's Realme 1 with the Oppo F7. So this is Nama signing off. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you in our next video. Have a great day.